Hello and welcome to lesson 6 of our interior modeling tutorial. Now in the last lesson we created the bedside cabinet and the table lamps. In this lesson we want to work on the final few objects. So let's go back to 3D Studio Max. We're going to have to increase the height of these walls. Because we turned this into a boolean last time, that's going to be quite difficult, because if we simply increase the size that way, we're going to have a massive gap here. What we want to do is apply the Edit Poly modifier. As soon as we do that, go over to the front viewport and select all the vertices up here. But make sure you don't select any of these. And now we can click and drag them up. So don't worry about that. We'll be sorting that out later. I think that's much better. Corresponds the current size we've got here. Let's go ahead and copy this box here. Hold down Shift and drag it up. Get the Select and Uniform Scale tool. Go over to your parameters and decrease the length. So we want it quite thin. And then bring that a bit forward. Increase the height up to about that much. I reckon increase the height a bit more. So that we have something like that. We might have to increase the height of the walls again. So bring that up to about here. Just do a bit more, like so. Okay, now copy that box one more time, like so. And then reduce these sizes, but make sure you increase the length. So that's basically our support for that board. We don't have to put that, but sometimes it's just good to have something there. Now we're going to copy that again, but we're going to be using the Rotate tool this time. So go over to your left viewport, hold down Shift, and click from the yellow line. And that allows us to duplicate it, making it face that way. Keep in mind, you just keep checking here until you hit 90. If not, you can enter the numbers yourself. Once you're happy with that, just select and move it up to the top here. And there you go. Might want to move that down a little bit. So like that. So I'm happy with that. Let's just increase the size a little bit again. To match that. And yeah. That's looking pretty good. For now, I want to remove this wall here. I might just move it down a bit so I can pan properly within the actual model. So if I zoom out up to about here, this is what we're aiming for. Obviously what we're making now is slightly different, but we're still following the same techniques used. So let's just fix this part here. So increase that size up to there. We might actually reduce it a little bit. So now we want to create another box. We're gonna cover that. Just go over to your top viewport, or just go over to your left viewport and create a box from there, and then move it back. So yeah. So there we go. I might have to increase the size of these as well. Just grab the vertices. We want to move that up to about here. Do the same for the walls. Just select those 2 points and bring them up to about here. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to create the ceiling. Now we've got quite a lot of light in there. Go over to the top viewport. Select the shapes under create. Get the line, hit S to snap to grid. And just draw the ceiling. The reason I didn't take it down here, this will be resized later. If not, then we'll increase the size when it comes to rendering. So once you're happy with your shape, without deselecting or selecting anything else, hit S again to come away from the snap option and just drag that line up. Now we are going to apply the extrude modifier to it. As soon as we do that, reduce the size. And there we go. We've created a ceiling. Simple as that. So now, let's try and view it from down here. And there you go. The ceiling's been created. But we're going to bring it up a little bit because we want to create the lights that will go. We want to create some of these lights here. Go over to your top viewport and create a cylinder. So go to the Create tab, Geometry, and then Cylinder. So we want our lights to be around here. So we need to move that up to the actual ceiling. We're going to bring this down when we're done. So first of all, what I want to do is create a hole in this ceiling. So bring that till it's visible down here. Then duplicate that by holding down Shift again. So we're going to keep a copy up there. Actually, let's go ahead and copy this on the areas we're going to need them. So I want to have one here, hold down Shift, another one here, maybe just hit 2, and maybe another here. And then select all those. Just click and drag. Holding down Shift, we duplicate them there. Now select just one of them and apply the Edit Poly modifier. Go down and select Attach. And now we are making all these other objects part of the original. So they're all one object. And once we've attached it, just duplicate, hold down Shift and duplicate that whole object. Go over and select our ceiling object and then go to Create Compound Objects, Boolean, pick operand B, and then select one of those, and that cuts holes into our ceiling for us. And that's the reason we attached these objects beforehand. Now that we've done that, we just select those, bring them back down to about here, so they're just slightly visible. Now, with the same object selected, get your polygon tool and select one of the faces. You might want to do it to all of them. So select all of them, holding down Control. Now, go over to Inset by Polygon. So we inset that slightly, and then we extrude, but we take it inside, like so. Now when you look at these original ones, you see they just go up, so the light is somewhere in there, but we don't show it. I might just do that one more time and say OK. And then apply the Mesh Smooth modifier to them. And now we're done. That's where our lights are going to be. I want to render the project. That's how they'll look like. So select everything up here. By holding down Control and selecting each object. And then we're going to bring that down later on. Actually, I'll just bring it down now. So you can see we've got our lighting section up there, similar to this. I'm just going to quickly work on this part here using the same method. So for that, just select the polygon tool, select this face, come down here, go to the Edit Geometry section and detach. Now we can edit that as a different object. So we select that object, so we now know that it's been separated. I'm going to create another cylinder. Make sure you're on Create, select Standard Primitives, and then Cylinder. So I'll try and make it similar size to what we had there. It's quite big, but might actually make it slightly smaller. And then drag it up. You can see we've created it. It's on this line here. So we bring it up slightly. Go over, hold down Shift, and then click and drag up to here. Do that twice. We might actually need another one down here. And then that's okay. So again, apply the Edit Poly modifier to this. And then attach. Select attach. And then click on these. When they're highlighted in white, that means they're now part of that object. So we can select and duplicate that. Shift again to bring that up. And now we can go ahead and apply the boolean to this. Pick the upper end again and select. Now we've got holes in that object. So we bring this down up to about here. And then we do exactly the same thing we did for these ones. So just zoom in. Okay, go back to your modifier panel with the 4 cylinders selected, and then select polygon, and then get these parts in the inside. We're going to inset that one more time. Just hit the settings, and I think that's pretty good. And then extrude them by polygon inwards. Say OK, and there you go. We've created all those other objects that were left, and I think on the next tutorial we're going to start preparing this model for rendering. So I might just make this slightly smaller, or maybe just take it up a little bit. Actually, we've got the picture frames left, so I'm just going to quickly do those. With this box down here selected, just hold down Shift and drag that up. Say OK. Go over and decrease the width to about that much, and the height as well. So make that a bit smaller again. So decrease the length as well, because we might have to make it as thin as possible. Use your left viewport to see what's going on. So we make it that small, and then move it back to the wall. Hold down Shift and copy it towards that direction. And we'll do the same for this other side. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now click and drag this down here. Copy. Bring it to this wall. I'll just zoom out so you see what we're doing. And then increase the width, maybe up to about this much, and the height. So bring it down to about here. Whoops. And there you go. I'm quite happy with that. Just increase this in size, in height a little bit, so maybe about there. So yeah, we managed to model almost everything in this scene. So on the next lesson, I'll be working on the few extra bits, such as this pillow, maybe get that going on there. And then we'll start preparing the materials and then the lighting. And then eventually we're going to start rendering this. Thank you for tuning in for today's tutorial. And I'll see you on the next lesson. Bye for now.